Good morning. I'm Dr. Allwell. It's Tuesday morning. I'm going to go over some of the things I would have gone over in class and post this as a YouTube video. In general, I'll try to post most of the software and Excel instruction as a video like this that you can play, stop and download, stop and play at your pleasure as a more efficient way to learn the Minitab and the Excel part of the course. The first problem assigned for the course is problem 1.2, and if you look in the upper left-hand corner, I've written it out here. And so there's 20 pieces of data. I opened Excel, a spreadsheet, created a column called data, and then I typed in painfully all 20 entries. I'm not going to show you how much fun that is, but I imagine you will enjoy that yourself. Okay, so now that I've got the data sorted, I am going to, or data listed, I'm going to actually sort the data. So I'm going to go to highlight it, go to data, sort, and go sort it smallest to largest. And that's going to be pretty handy when we get down to doing the trimmed mean. It doesn't change the totals. Okay, to get the sample mean, we need the sum of the data. So I'll just highlight the cells. We need the number of data points. So I'll just again count and then highlight. And so the sample average, I should say mean, is going to be equal to the sum divided by the number of them. And to calculate the median, it's an even number. It's an even number of data points. So there's 20 of them, so it's going to be the average of the 10th and 11th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10, and that's 11. Okay, so this is going to be equal to the open parentheses 10th entry plus the 11th entry and divided by 2. And here you see why we sorted them, otherwise it'd be an enormous pain in the neck trying to find out which was the 10th and 11th largest. There are Excel commands, excuse me. There are Excel commands that will do that for an unsorted list, but we're not going to get into that today. We're just going to do the easy stuff. Okay, so B is compute the 10% trim mean. Put that in the next cell here. I like to label all these cells, otherwise I don't know what I did. Make this a little bit wider just to make life easier. Okay, so the 10% trim mean takes the 10% off the top, the two 10% smallest entries, the 10% largest entries, and then takes the average of those. Okay, so 10% of 20 is 2, so we will skip these 2, and we will take the 16 entries in the middle, copy, and we'll just paste them here. Okay, and now we want to compute the sample mean for, and I'll just label this the 10% trimmed. Then we want to take the 10%, or take the sample average of this, which is going to be equal to the sum of the data points Come on, Dave. Forgot the equal sign. It's going to be equal to the sum of the I've corrupted my data. Okay, you get to see all these things you can do in real time. Okay, so this is going to be equal to the sum of those 16 data points I'm going to get this eventually if it kills me. Sum of these 16 data points divided by the count of these 16 data points. I could put 16 in, but I like to use the functions. Okay, so that's the trimmed mean, 10% trimmed mean. We're going to come back to this dot plot, but suffice to say, what you would do is get a piece of engineering graph paper, put the appropriate ticks on, and then go do the enter them in the dot plot as it's outlined in the book and as I'll do in class. Pain in the neck, but it's doable by hand. And here again, having the data sorted makes life easier. Okay, so part D, using only the values of mean, median, and trimmed mean drive evidence of outliers in the data. So the mean, the sample mean and the trimmed mean are pretty close. The median and the sample mean are pretty close. And so we don't really have evidence of outliers. Again, the idea with the trimmed mean is to eliminate extremely high or extremely low values from the calculation. And the fact that the average just comes in close means that they're pretty close to being the same. So we'll just type in no evidence of outliers. All right, so I want to also tell you a little bit about Minitab. Minitab is loaded on the machines in the computer lab, and it's not part of the standard engineering load. So you can access that. You can also get a student version for, I think it's $49 for 6 months through on the hub. And if you're interested in that, ask me in class. That's what I did. I bought the student version for my computer because I'm running a Macintosh that's not a university machine. So here's what the Minitab comes up and does for me. And so what I've done is I just copied the data from the sorted data from the spreadsheet, didn't really matter, into a column. Let me just go ahead and do that again. So I just take the data, I copy it, and I'm going to just put it in this column, Command V for paste, or whatever you use. And then I'm going to call this problem 1.2.2 because I'm doing it again. Okay, and then to get the information we needed, I'm going to go to my statistics tab in the menu, and just to basic statistics, and I'm going to ask it just to display the basic descriptive statistics. So I'm going to select my variable here. Don't need anything else particularly important about it. And here is the list of the number of items, the mean. We'll come back to the standard deviation, standard error, the mean later. The minimum, the median, quartiles we'll come to in a little bit next time when we talk about box plots, and the maximum. And if we just go back and look at the values we had here, for an average we had 2.768, and for here we had 2.765, 675, so within rounding it's the same value. And for median we had 20.61, and again there's 20.61. So that's a lot easier. We're going to make you do a couple of these by hand. You need to know how to do them by hand, because when you're doing tests and quizzes, you will not have the computer or a calculator available. But when you're doing homework or doing engineering or other type of work for real, everybody uses the software. All right, let me do one other part here. If I go to the graph menu on the Minitab, and I go down to dot plot, and I ask for a simple dot plot, I take that value there, and I click OK. And voila, there's my dot plot for me, and I don't have to be messing around by myself. And then I can copy that and, for example, paste it into my Excel spreadsheet. Okay, right there, and then I've got the dot plots. All right, so I'll be doing more of these type videos in the future, but for now, hopefully this is helpful. It's not a world-class production values, but hopefully it's enough for you to get the hang of it. And remember, with the video, you can plug and play. So that's it for now.